Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we started dealing with some chaos shenanigans throughout the system, and now we're just going to jump back into that.
I wanted to visit Nereus 3 and bolster the defenses personally, but the battle decided.
I humbly disagree, Inquisitor. This is an isolated backwater world with a single functional void port. Losing the only connection to the Imperium would be a logistical nightmare, not to mention the psychological impact. You must silence the Black Legion artillery before the void shields fail.
And the thriving rogue trade race.
What can I say, Inquisitor? We are who we are.
So, last time I went over the new Leagues of, well, not really new, it's a little old, and some new Leagues of Votann stuff. And I had mentioned, while I was talking, the Psi-Titan. Now, to explain that, I have to kind of do a roundabout thing. I think I've covered it before, but I'll cover it again because, you know, different things connected in different ways, and every video is somebody's first. So, let's start with the basic part. A psychic blank, or a null. These are people who have no connection to the warp, and humanity is the only group who can naturally produce psychic nulls. This is an interesting thing because it ties into the Leagues of Votann. The Leagues of Votann have engineered souls. To have a connection to the warp, one must have a soul. A soul is a warp echo, warp resonance, whatever you may call it. Regardless, without it, you just don't... You're not psychic. You can't be a psychic. Psychers are very bright souls compared to the average one. And it's a very interesting situation. Now, psychic nulls can also negate or reduce the effects of the warp, psychers, all of that. Another interesting piece is that they were used... At first, there's the Kulexis assassins. They're all blanks, nulls, whatever you want to call them. The presence of one will cause people to feel unease. It will cause degrees of hostility, effectively making them pariahs. Which, that's an interesting term to pick up, or to use in this case. But this is amplified around psychers, because while an average person will just feel weird, the psycher knows what's up. And it's that extreme discomfort. That said, there was, during the Great Crusade and during the Horus Heresy, the Ordo Sinister. The Ordo Sinister would use nulls to be the commander of a Psi-Titan. What a Psi-Titan is a Titan that has psychers surgically implanted into it to cause and negate psycher effects. Essentially think of it as a super robo-psycher, commanded by a null, or a blank. I don't believe they're in service anymore in the 41st millennium. I think they might just all have died or been destroyed, or much like everything else the Empire has, they lost how to maintain it and just kinda shelved it. Which is a shame because they're awesome. Honestly, there's no other way to describe them. They're really cool, and it'd be cool to see them come back. But going with the blanks, nulls, I'll just keep using both terms for the sake of simplicity and to make sure one isn't cast to the wayside. There are others that can be made into a null. First is the Solitaires, a group of Harlequins who, through undisclosed means, lost their soul.
Only one Black Legion veteran.
Which, if you know Eldar, that's actually a really big deal, because they carry soul stones, so that their soul goes into that, instead of instantly getting sucked away to Slaanesh to gobble up. Since they're all essentially condemned upon death to go to Slaanesh unless a soul stone is worn, so for one to lose their soul and still be alive is kind of a big deal. And then the other one, and this is why I mentioned Pariah, older 40k lore and rulebooks had stated that the Necron unit called a Pariah was made through using nulls. They would actually take citizens of the Empire and convert them. Pariahs haven't made a comeback in, I believe, 2 editions now? I may be wrong on that. I know they haven't shown up in this edition, so it's kind of up in the air where they are. If they're going to show up in a new book, in a new miniature release, or if they've just been silently retconned out of existence. I could see it going that way, being retconned, simply because they were actually flat out just a very anomalous thing to have. Because nobody else was, forcefully converted into Necrons. Though that is a cool idea.
Captain, any news about our situation?
It's not great, Inquisitor. The air is full of desperate Vox transmissions. The initial attack of the Black Legion came without warning. They've overrun the local headquarters of the Astra Militarum.
Any news about my Martyr? Right now, he's our best chance to revitalize him.
According to the latest reports, he was captured with his retinue.
Leader unable to isn't
Now that I think about it, it would be cool to actually have Necrons do more forced assimilation. It does start to turn them into the Borg, but I don't care. That it would be cool. Plus, it gives them a way to replenish lost numbers. Because as powerful as the Necrons are, and I mean, Gauss rifles flay everything from your bones. So it's not like they don't have firepower, considering that's, your basic infantry weapon. Their forces are still finite. Within the lore, they've had, I want to say it's Trazyn the Infinite. It's either Trazyn or somebody else. I know Trazyn probably did this too, but going to other tomb worlds, waking him up and being like, yeah, you belong to me now. All your base belong to us, kind of deal. And it makes sense. These guys are finite. You could make the argument of, oh, well, they can never go past, or rarely go past, Necron warriors, who essentially have no memories. Their biotransference was flawed, and as a result, unlike Trazyn and a lot of the higher-up guys, their memories are damaged, corrupted, or lost. And I think it'd be interesting.
This is High Marshal Albrecht Corte, acting senior commander of the Astra Militarum. I hereby proclaim the unconditional surrender of all remaining Imperial...
There's definitely some interesting things that could be done with Necrons. Probably something good they could do. It would explain Pariahs and let them come back, which is a big thing to me. Because I think Pariahs are just a cool concept. And they don't really have they have a weird interaction when it comes to the warp, 'cause it's just like, yeah, the warp exists. Anyways, and just kind of moving on. And I'd appreciate at least the pariahs. Be like, yeah, there are counter to them. Because you can't tell me these Necron overlords and stuff they've been facing chaos, they've been facing the Empire, they've been facing Eldar. They all have psychers. Or they can contact the warp and pull demons out. Orcs, yeah, they're psychers. They just channel the wall, but they're psychers. You can't tell me all these guys are just like, yeah, this very common weapon that's used against us. Let's not develop a counter. That's fine. We gotta give him a fair shot. Like, no. You know, you counter your enemies. You don't just sit around and be like, yeah, we'll give them a freebie. They're special. We'll give them a couple extra points on the board here. No, don't take pity on them. Clobber them. Though I am still frustrated they stepped to a degree away from the full-on, just Egyptian Terminator aesthetic. Because, as stupid as it is, I loved it. That's why I like the Tomb Kings. The Tomb Kings were just straight up just Egyptians. They just needed more mummies. And they would have been perfect. But thinking back to even Psi-Titans, that's something that kind of surprises me too, is I'm surprised Chaos doesn't use them. Even if they don't have a functioning original Psi-Titan, you're telling me that Fabius Bile hasn't been able to rig up a dude to have a connection to the warp, and guys like Hansu of the Iron Warriors haven't come up with something to be like, yeah, so we figured out if you human centipede about 15 psychers together and put a guy at the end, you can create like this giant psychic thing. Any Slaneshi guy would be like, you had me at human centipede. I don't care about anything past that. But of course, what do you expect from Slaneshi dudes? They're degenerates. I just imagine Fabius Bile or Fulgrim just sitting there being like, hold up, you're telling me if we put these guys mouth to ass, we can do stuff? And it's just like, yeah, alright, do it. Go for it. Just really creepy, just like, I want to watch this happen though. Like, no, get out of here, you little weirdo.
High Marshal Corte.
Good person.
A smart decision, Inquisitor.
That's something I actually appreciate with this game, and 40K to a degree, is no one is good. It's like, oh, Puritan or Radical. You're doing bad things regardless, you know. With the Dark Eldar stuff, your options are, hey, do you let this rival Dark Eldar guy, Homunculus, go so that he can rally his forces and harass the guys you're fighting, drawing pressure off of you, potentially letting them get absorbed and become more powerful, or do you just kill them? And it's like, it's either way.
How are you faring?
You know, this can help you or hurt you, and you don't fully know. And I think that's good design and good writing. Because as much as I do enjoy straight black and white, this guy is good, this guy is bad, do good thing, do bad thing, I do like gray areas at times. A bit of nuance is fun. Too much and too much of everything's gray, nothing is good, it does get a little tedious. And that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.